In our daily lives, many of us within the Christian faith often overlook the darker aspects of our world. Today, we will embark on a heartfelt journey to uncover the subtle ways Satan's influence can affect us, and how many Christians, perhaps unknowingly, remain disconnected from this unsettling reality. Our goal is to expose the hidden ways in which Satan's presence manifests in our world, to understand why this truth frequently goes unnoticed by believers. We will explore how evil subtly infiltrates our everyday lives, and why we often only see its surface. The Bible clearly shows us that evil is not just an abstract idea, but a real and present force in our lives. For example, 1 Peter 5:8 warns us, "Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary the devil prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour." This verse serves as a reminder that evil is not distant, but a constant threat that we must take seriously. Despite this clear warning, many Christians live in a kind of bubble that shields them from the harsh realities of the world. In our daily routines, we often become so engrossed in our own concerns and tasks that we fail to recognize the presence of evil around us. Satan's influence appears in subtle ways, often disguised within our everyday lives. Consider, for instance, how evil can manifest in our personal relationships. Arguments and misunderstandings that seem trivial may in fact be driven by forces seeking to divide and conquer. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places." This verse helps us understand that what happens in our lives is not merely human conflict and be influenced by spiritual forces. Evil's presence is also evident in how we treat one another. We often witness behaviors of rejection, intolerance, and unkindness that may seem normal, but are fueled by malevolent influences. The Bible teaches us that love should guide our actions, but sadly, we often see the opposite. In 1 John 4:20, "If anyone says, 'I love God,' and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he who does not love his brother whom he has seen cannot love God whom he has not seen." This verse challenges us to reflect on the authenticity of our love and to recognize how its absence may reflect evil influences. By reflecting on these truths, we can begin to understand and confront the subtle ways in which Satan's influence affects our lives and our faith. Evil isn't just found in obvious conflicts or injustices. It also creeps into the small, everyday moments that we often overlook. The media we consume, the lack of empathy in our daily interactions, and even how we handle our own thoughts and emotions can all be influenced by dark forces. Romans 12:2 advises us, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." This verse encourages us to continually renew our minds so that we can recognize and resist the subtle influences of evil. So how can we protect ourselves and fight against this influence? The answer lies in staying vigilant and seeking God's guidance. James 4:7 reminds us, "Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you." Resisting the devil doesn't just mean ignoring his attacks. It means being constantly aware of his tactics and relying on God's strength and protection. Satan's influence can be found in many aspects of our lives, often slipping by unnoticed as we get caught up in the trivialities of daily life. This message is a call to step out of that bubble and recognize the subtle ways that evil operates around us. It's an invitation to seek deeper vigilance and a more genuine pursuit of God's presence in our lives. The story of Jesus' temptation in the wilderness, found in Matthew 4:1-12, offers us profound insights into Satan's strategies and the nature of the temptations we face. In this passage, we see how Satan approaches Jesus at a moment of great vulnerability. After fasting for 40 days and nights, Jesus is physically weakened and hungry. It is at this point of weakness that Satan attempts to tempt him, starting with the challenge to turn stones into bread. This is not merely a physical temptation, but a direct challenge to Jesus' divine authority and purpose. Satan begins by questioning Jesus' identity. "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." This isn't just a temptation to satisfy hunger. It's a test to see if Jesus would misuse his divine power for his own gain. diverting from his mission. But Jesus responds with clarity and conviction. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. In this, he reaffirms his trust in God and his commitment to his divine mission, refusing to give in to the temptation to act outside of God's will. Satan does not give up easily. He takes Jesus to a high place, showing him all the kingdoms of the world, and offers them in exchange for worship. This moment exemplifies how Satan attempts to corrupt individuals by promising power and glory in return for devotion. Imagine the intensity of this temptation. The opportunity to rule over all the kingdoms, to possess unrivaled power and prestige. Yet again, Jesus resists, declaring, "You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve." With this response, he rejects Satan's offer, affirming that worship belongs to God alone, and that earthly power pales in comparison to fulfilling his divine mission. Jesus' refusal underscores his integrity and unwavering dedication to his purpose. In the third temptation, Satan takes Jesus to the pinnacle of the temple and challenges him to throw himself down, quoting scripture that promises divine protection. Here, Satan tries to manipulate Jesus into testing God's faithfulness, urging him to prove his identity through a reckless act. Once more, Jesus stands firm, replying, "You shall not put the Lord your God to the test." By rejecting this temptation, Jesus demonstrates his trust in God and his commitment to follow God's plan, without seeking validation through dramatic displays of power. These temptations reveal Satan's strategy, offering something seemingly desirable in exchange for a small compromise of loyalty. Satan tempts with bread for the hungry, power for the ambitious, and protection for the fearful. These offers are enticing because they appeal to our deepest needs and desires, but they come with a significant cost: our allegiance to God. If Satan made such offers to Jesus, we should not underestimate his attempts to lure us with similar temptation. While the scale of our temptations may not be as grand as those faced by Jesus, they often appear as legitimate needs or desires. We might be tempted to find satisfaction in ways that stray from God's will, or to compromise our principles for temporary gains. Temptation is a constant in our lives. It can manifest in many forms, whether in the pursuit of wealth, power, status, or even in small moral compromises. Satan continues to entice us away from our faith, offering alternatives that seem appealing at first glance, but ultimately lead us away from God's path. While the Bible doesn't explicitly mention selling souls to the devil, history and folklore are filled with stories and occult practices involving secret deals for power and wealth. These dark pacts are not just urban legends. They reflect a disturbing reality where occultism and sinister alliances hold sway in the lives of some individuals. From ancient times, there has been a deep fascination and curiosity about the hidden costs of success. Many believe that reaching great heights often comes with a price, leading some to explore the unknown. Tales of pacts with dark entities in exchange for power, wealth, and fame are common across various cultures and historical periods. These practices are often shrouded in mystery, but the most disturbing aspect is the real impact they can have. Today, we witness public figures and celebrities who claim to have made deals to achieve success and recognition. These claims, frequently dismissed as urban legends, actually offer a glimpse into a world where occultism might influence people's life path. The pursuit of power and wealth can sometimes drive individuals to resort to questionable methods, which is a matter that demands serious attention. Whether in the realms of music, film, or politics, stories circulate suggesting that some people may have achieved their success through means involving occult practice. While these stories are often unverified, they serve as a reminder that the desire for success can lead to dark and dangerous paths. The Bible provides insight into what is at stake. In 2 Corinthians 4:4, it says, "The God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of God." This verse warns us about the influence of forces that seek to divert people from the truth and the light of the gospel. This spiritual blindness is a reality visible in many aspects of modern life. The quest for success and recognition can cause some to overlook spiritual values and principles, leading them into practices that do not align with God's will. The influence of these forces is not always apparent, but their presence can be felt in the choices and priorities people make. Success, as alluring as it may be, should not be pursued at any cost. It is crucial to remember that spiritual integrity and loyalty to God are far more valuable than any earthly achievement. Pacts and secret agreements might offer an illusion of power and wealth, but they often come with a much higher price: the loss of connection with God and moral integrity. When we reflect on stories of pacts and occult practices, we are prompted to consider what truly matters in our lives. True wealth and success come from living according to God's principles, maintaining a strong relationship with Him, and seeking His guidance in every aspect of life. The price some people pay for power and wealth can be steep, and the impact on their souls is a serious concern. As we contemplate these themes, it's essential to engage in self-reflection. Are we pursuing success and recognition at the expense of our faith and values? Are we being influenced by forces that pull us away from God? Life is filled with challenges and temptations, and it's easy to get swept up in the desire to achieve great things. However, it's crucial to stay focused on what truly matters: our spiritual integrity and our relationship with God. I encourage you to reflect on your own journey and consider whether your choices align with God's principles. If you're struggling with these questions, seek guidance and support through prayer, scripture, and your faith community. Remember, while the path to success may be tempting, true success lies in living according to God's will and maintaining a genuine relationship with Him. If you found value in this video and the reflections we've shared, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel to continue exploring topics that impact spiritual life and God's truth. Your spiritual journey is important, and together, we can walk with integrity and faith.